I think it's made life a lot more stressful, and I've been trying to find ways to alleviate the stress, both of myself and my husband. It's limited us with going out. We normally go out on a Tuesday and do social things, and the social interaction is obviously gone. So you've had to find other ways to find that social interaction. So we've tried to do arts and crafts at home. I think myself as well, it's meant the lack of respite as far as actually getting time away, which I think as a carer helps a great deal, because then you go away, you come back and you feel refreshed. And when you're caring 24/7, it's a big deal. It's quite that refreshment, going away for a couple of days and coming back, like recharges your battery again. So that's been difficult, but I think the best way is to just try not to think about the COVID issue, because I think the more it's thought about, the more you find it becomes very overwhelming. We were lucky at the beginning, we moved, so we were unpacking, keeping really busy, and I think that's the thing. If you can keep busy through COVID, you can keep a bad head on you. We try to do different things. We started off, I think, with making homemade pizza, which my husband seems to help himself to eat, nibble the toppings as we're making, but he's not got massive movement, but he has got some movement in one of his hands. Like with his left hand, he can usually pincer with his index finger and his thumb, picking up things. Sometimes he has to be encouraged, but other times he's good, and especially if it's something he wants to eat. Basically, rolled up the pizza and made the dough and stuff, and then put it in front of him, and the girls would help him with a spoon, put the tomato sauce on, all the toppings, and then we baked them and ate them. And usually when we made pizza, my husband would encourage himself to, or he could just be encouraged to actually put the pizza in his mouth. Sometimes he will do, sometimes he won't. It just varies on his mood really on that day. We've done everything from handmade chocolates for Valentine's Day, Valentine's cards for the carers, cut out hearts and put glue on them, and then he sprinkled glitter dust on them, and gingerbread at Christmas, Easter biscuits for Easter, and Easter cards. And sometimes the thing that we're working on takes, like the Valentine's Day cards, they took kind of 2 weeks because we were waiting for things to dry in between, and we did a little bit, because I find sometimes if you do everything all at once, my husband gets a bit bored. So you do a little bit here and there. Like today, we've baked the biscuits and my husband's cut them out with a handle cutter, and the carers help. And then this afternoon we decorated them we do an assembly line. I might run out icing sugar on, and the carers hold the biscuit and help him. He really focuses then when he's working on something, and the girls ask him whether or not he'd like to put specific colour on, and so it's getting him thinking of what he has to do. Even today we were counting them, how many had he made, had he decorated. And it's funny, at first he said all of them after counting exactly. So I just think it's looking at things that you might have done with the kids when they were younger, gluing stuff on, decorating stuff, kind of just thinking ahead on the day that you're going to do the crafts. What do we need? What abilities can my husband use, and how can he use his ability, and what can he do, basically. And it's not always easy, but I think we've done pretty well with this. It's about trying to focus on other things and not focus on what's happening or why we can't go out and why we can't do this. It's just about moving your social interaction a different way, sideways for the moment. we seemed to always be doing something. We also had a garden, and we were able to go out in the garden a lot more, spend time planting. And what we've realised with not being able to do things like on our Tuesdays and not being able to be social, we've maybe done a bit more planting together, although my husband's range is limited on his hands. I think it's about trying to find other things instead of worrying about what you can't do is the best. But it's not easy. And I think as far as the isolation as a carer goes anyway, as a 24/7 carer, you tend to feel a little bit isolated anyway, to begin with, before COVID. Whether you're disabled or a carer, there is an awful lot of isolation that goes with that. It's as if you have to, at the beginning, force yourself to be more social, and now, so you kind of were used to it, so you kind of go back to what you knew before. And I think maybe sometimes it is easier to relate because you're kind of used to having gone through a period of that previously. But I think the interaction that we did have, I think we missed a little bit more, because that interaction with other people, and that, whether it get away or go out for lunch, or whether it's together or separate, it just gives a highlight to your day. And it's now about making other things be your highlight. It's almost like rejuggling your life a bit.